Hi, everyone. It's Randi again, president of the AFT. This week was a real split screen. On the one hand, it was a week to celebrate working people like you who make a difference in other people's lives. Teacher Appreciation Week, National Nurses Week, Public Service Recognition Week. And in all of these celebrations, I saw and heard many tributes. And personally, I'm so grateful to each one of you who teach, support, and care for our students, our patients, and our communities. And I was so grateful to see many of our activists this week as well. First in Albany at the NICET Representative Assembly, then in Detroit at the AFT Michigan Convention, and finally in Eugene, Oregon at the Oregon Nurses Association's biennial meeting. Both AFT Michigan and ONA have grown tremendously in the last 2 years, proving the point that workers want the collective clout they secure when they have a union and when they have a contract. ONA has added 36 new units in just 4 years. That kind of growth translates into real power for healthcare workers and real advocacy for patients, from winning safer staffing laws to fighting for the care that patients deserve. And speaking of new people having a voice, oncology triage nurses at Multicare Good Samaritan Hospital voted to join the Washington State Nurses Association and the AFT this week. Welcome to the AFT family. And then, on the other hand, we watched why the Voting Rights Act is still so essential. Tennessee, Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Florida raced to disenfranchise Black voters in the aftermath of the Coley Supreme Court case. Alabama was so anxious to hurt people of color that they wouldn't stop their special session even during a tornado warning as floodwaters rose throughout its capital. And today, the Virginia Supreme Court overturned the result of the recent special election on redistricting, effectively putting politics ahead of the will of the people. So, when voters decide to redistrict, they're told that they can't. But when Republican-led state legislators change the rules mid-election to suit themselves, that's okay. As a friend of mine said on social media this week, her granddaughters now have less rights in 2026 than we had, my generation, growing up. This race to limit a voice for people of color has made the 2026 election ever more important. But we're fighting back, and we're fighting back everywhere. Let's talk about Florida for a minute. Governor DeSantis has been at war with the state's educators and public schools for years. He not only engineered a union-busting measure to make it harder for educators to have a union and a contract, even though the right to collective bargaining is in the Constitution, but Florida officials are siphoning millions of dollars into unaccountable charter and voucher schools. The financial drain is hurting students in public schools. And like collective bargaining, the right to high-quality public education is also enshrined in the Florida Constitution. So this week, parents, students, educators, school board members, civil rights organizations, and our affiliate, the Florida Education Association, filed a lawsuit against the Florida Department of Education for failing to uphold the Constitution and to ensure that every child in Florida has access to a high-quality public education. Now, a few weeks ago, I referenced the fight for fair wages in another Florida county, Palm Beach County. Florida, by the way, ranks last in the country for average teacher pay. And the cost of living in Palm Beach County, as you can imagine, continues to rise. After a long standoff and then a lot of community support, last week the school board approved a 3.5% teacher pay raise, acknowledging the importance of attracting, retaining, and respecting educators. Also this week, the AFT asked the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission to scrutinize SpaceX's upcoming initial public offering. Elon Musk, the billionaire rocket maker, has virtually unchecked authority over SpaceX, like he does over Tesla. So why does this matter to people like you and me and to millions of Americans? Because much of Americans' retirement income that is invested right now is invested in index funds. And they're now going to be invested heavily in SpaceX due to its massive projected market capitalization. What does it mean? It puts our members' retirement security at risk. So that's why we're calling on the SEC to demand safeguards to prevent jeopardizing workers' life savings. It's all part of the AFT's fight for affordability and for a better life. Finally, to all the moms and mother figures out there, happy Mother's Day. I hope you get the appreciation you deserve, maybe a little pampering too. Thank you for all you do, and I'll be back next week.